lead you to your next step to open up more, depending upon your desire.
So let me ask you this, Lauri. What is the difference between the source and God?
There is no different. It's just a more universal label. So I use it for all beings because whether you believe in a particular religion or you don't believe, you only believe in energy or the name of the universe, I like to use a more universal label so people don't feel separated by it.
Well, if somebody is a Christian or a Catholic, how would this interfere with their belief in the source?
I don't believe it would interfere, although it would generally. Religion holds truth. All religions hold truth, and yet they often disempower people to know the fullness of themselves because they have to go through someone to reach the other side or reach their own knowing of creator source.
Right.
And that is not necessary. It's sometimes very helpful because then, like that person who wanted the next step, hearing the information, but it's not a limitation except for where they think that they cannot based on the doctrine of their religion or what they've been taught.
Well, what is the doctrine of the source?
It is actually expression in unconditional love.
So there's nothing
without judgment or without limitation.
Are there? Well, since you and I were talking before, and you said that you don't believe in a right or a wrong. So does anything go with the source?
Absolutely, absolutely, and not because source wants contrast or war or anything like that. And when I say we're inherently of that unconditional love, and love is love. Love is not our romantic idea of love. Love is a resonance of feeling of bliss and peace and calm. That's the essence from which we're all from.
Right.
And so when I say unconditional, people get concerned that they're not going to have a moral compass, but they already are naturally that moral compass.
Well, if that is so, then how come there are murders?
I knew you were going to ask me that. Because people feel so distant from the truth of the essence of themselves that they feel disconnected. So they often hurt people. So because they're feeling not the love that they know, they're reacting out of a fear and projecting that onto others. And oftentimes that is a soul agreement that people would have that experience. There are many experiences that from a human perspective would not seem beneficial, but from a soul evolution would be nothing but beneficial.
I understand that, but we live in a realistic world where there are laws, where there are rights, where there are wrongs. And I'll tell you, as a veteran police officer and investigator, I have seen the evil side. And I have to disagree with you that, that we have to blame it on, that we're pointing the finger at society as this person is basically crying out for attention. This is why he commits a crime. I disagree with you.
And I don't mind your disagreement. I understand that that's a perspective that you hold.
It's a perspective that society in general holds.
And I do not desire to expand that experience anywhere on the planet. But I have, I'll give you an example.
Sure.
Every thought, feeling, and emotion is a creation that vibrates out to the universe. There is a scale of consciousness based on emotions, energy in motion. On that consciousness, guilt's 30, fear's 100, love's in the 500s, gratitude, when you're in gratitude, is in 800, and enlightenment, if you're an enlightened Christ being on this planet of Christ consciousness, you are operating at a vibration of 1,000.
Well,
so
if everything is goes in the philosophy that you're talking about, and there is no right and there is no wrong, why are we using a scale to say that this number is such, that number is such? If everything goes, isn't everything on the same level playing field?
Well, because Source reads the vibration like a blueprint, and that vibration would equate to different circumstances that would occur. And so because I think that what I want to clarify is what an infinite being means, because when you're on the other side, you want to come here and have a physical expression for the tangible sense of it.
How do you know?
How do I know that I know? I know from personal experience. I know that when I have been living in those lower vibrations that I described to you, that my life was very, very difficult.
Right.
And I had a lot of circumstances that showed up in my experience, such as financial difficulties, sadness, apathy.
Right.
Had many experiences where in those low vibrations, things would break down around me. I wouldn't have great relationships with people. I would have more of that, what is the word I want to use? More where people would be fighting and all of that. And when I had consciousness that if I were to have awareness of my thought, feeling, and emotion that was creating a vibration and where I was vibrating, when I shifted to the higher vibrations and cleared the energy that was creating the lower vibrations, then my life got easier. I got more prosperous. I had more joy. I have loving relationships. Everyone is kind to me.
So could it be that you changed your attitude towards life, and this is what caused the change?
I changed my perception. Because as we spoke earlier, you're the only one that will ever have your perception, and I will be the only one ever having my perception. And so there are 7 billion different aspects of perception as a piece of source energy having a tangible experience. And that's the expansion of the universe. But
the reality of the situation is that we all live on this little planet, whether whether you want to believe that you're a spirit having a physical experience, or whether you want to believe that, hey, I'm here for a good time, not for a long time, whether you're a Catholic, whether you're a Jew, whether you're a Christian, whether you're a Muslim, whatever. We all live on this planet. And we all, at one time or another, affect another life. It's not as if we live in little cubicles, that our actions do not have consequences on others. So I don't understand. I can't buy and this is just my opinion, I can't buy the loving of one and all is what is actually going on, that everything I do is all right, everything I think and say is all right, and I really don't care if it has a consequence on somebody else's life.
Well, I would say to you that if you were operating not from a place of fear or lower, you would never harm another being. It's not your nature.
Okay, we've got to take our final break. Please stand by. Lauri Ivers .vpweb.com. Lauri Ivers is my guest. We'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
The following program may contain coarse language, violence, nudity, mature subject matter, or scenes which may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Lauri Ivers is our special guest this hour, www.lauriivers.vpweb.com. Lauri, why do you think so many people are turning to New Age spirituality in this 21st century when everything is so electronic?
Well, I think it is actually a time on the planet where we're remembering the truth of ourselves. And New Age-ism, for me, is an evolution of all the other religions, or all the evolution of mankind. That's why.
Where do you see this new age and this new philosophy going in 5-10 years from now?
I feel that many people will be what one would call awake, having awareness of how they create everything that shows up in their experience, and how within that they have more power than they ever thought possible. And they would inherently use it to create good and joy and prosperity and equanimity for all.
So what is our purpose for being here?
I really believe that the purpose that we came here for is actually to have a physical expression, so that when we had a piece of chocolate, on the other side, you have the impression, you have the knowing, such as I believe God knows what a kiss is, but wanted to feel it through the tangible expression of you in physical form by your perspective of it.
Interesting. So where do we go from here? How do we better ourselves? How do we learn more about the source?
Well, I would hold intention. I would begin to have awareness of how I felt, whether I felt contracted or expansive, because the truth of yourself is that you are an open, expansive being, taking a piece of yourself and bringing it into a narrower form. And when you feel contracted ever, that's not the truth of you as a infinite being. So there is some awareness there. Whenever you're feeling contracted, that's not a comfortable feeling. And so that would give you awareness to know of where you are creating from.
Where does an archangel fit into this philosophy? Because you've got a source, because you don't use the word God, because you're saying that this is, this just takes away the religious connotation of this supreme being, or this energy, or this power, and yet you use a reference of an archangel, which is from a religious philosophy.
Well, I have a knowing of those beings. They're actually universal light beings who have a role as angels. Angels do exist. Unicorns exist. All of that exists.
Okay.
So for me, because I had some Catholic background, it's an alignment for me in energy that I'm comfortable with. And I use the word God in my own life, in my own world. I don't not believe in that label. And yet, because I know there are many, many beings on the planet who are traveling in other expressions, I would not want to alienate them from feeling part of all that we are, because we're all of that fabric and source. And I would want them to not feel left or separate from us.
But isn't that a little bit two-faced, where you believe in something, but yet you won't acknowledge it to others?
Well, it's an honoring of their beliefs. I don't want to make my belief their belief. I believe that they have a perfect belief for their experience.
All right, Lauri, I want to thank you so much. We have to say so long for tonight. Lauri Ivers has been my guest, X-Zone Nation. www.lauriivers.vpweb.com. I've got to chew this one over, X-Zone Nation. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center right here in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. My name is Rob McConnell. Whatever you do, don't go away. I'll be back after the news at 6.5 minutes past the top of the hour.